Good morning. My name is Linky. I am Lorraine Levin, social worker that qualified at the University of Cape Town. And I have a Bachelor of Social Science degree, and I have worked in the field of addictions and psychiatric care over many years. I'm quite specialized in those two fields. I have had other experience. I've got quite a wide knowledge on all kinds of things within my social work career. I work for Tranquility Clinic, and I'm really happy to know they're starting this online business, which we're all going to be a part of and be able to reach so many more people. What I thought I'd talk about today is grief. Grief, there was a legend of a woman called Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, and she opened a book or wrote a book, she's like a literary genius, in the 1960s. And she told us about grief being 5 stages. And throughout these years, since the 1960s till 2021, we are using those methods and theories in grief counselling. So what is grief? Grief is losing a loved one, or in the process of losing a loved one, or in COVID-19. Now, of course, there are so many losses and fears, and people are just losing themselves as well in COVID-19. So loss is all around us at this stage. So to go through the stages of grief, denial is one of the first stages of grief, because when one has facing grief, one does go into denial and say, is this really true? Did this happen? Did this happen now? Didn't it happen? One doesn't just learn to say this is true, because you are so hurt and putting bricks and boundaries around you not to want to feel that pain of that grief. So one goes into denial. And this also applies to substance abuse. When people lose their drug of choice, they also go into grief. When the family loses their addict to treatment, they go into grief. So grief is widespread. But with COVID-19 specifically, it's really serious in today's times. The second part of grief would be anger. Now you know someone has passed on, your loved one, and you feel, why did they go? Why did they leave me? Where have they gone? Why did this happen? Just feel anger. And then it leads on to bargaining with God. Why me? Why my loved one? Why my family? And why words we never get the answers for, because we live in a spiritual world and we don't get those answers as to why this happened or why it shouldn't have happened. So then you're bargaining with God and you're asking Him, really, must I believe in you, mustn't I believe in you? And it's a very difficult phase to go through. After the bargaining with God, one could go through depression and think, it did happen, and I'm so sad, I feel hopeless, I don't know how to get on with my life, I don't know how to reconnect with anybody, I'm alone now, I'm sad. And then it's a process of counselling that would really be the best thing here, to help the person get back to integration and reconnection within their life, without the partner, without the child, a very sad thing. But there are lots of groups for counselling, there are many other dedicated counsellors out there for grief counselling, and one can't be alone in this. It has to be a shared experience, and that's why online counselling will be amazing, because you can reach someone just on the internet, and wow, you can get someone right at your hand, which is amazing. So just to get to acceptance, there has to be the counselling process, because people will take as long as they want to get better. It won't be a month and you're better, or 3 months. It takes years to actually accept a loved one has gone. Especially with COVID-19, we know that we have got no control over it. Only now the vaccinations are coming out and we're getting a miniature amount of control. So it's a long haul, it's a journey. With grief is also a journey. It's a long-term journey, and the level of acceptance you get to is how hard you work in that journey. Okay, then trauma. Trauma is an event which also creates very big grief. But trauma is more an event. Like a traumatic event occurs, like a hijacking, or looting, which happened this week in South Africa. And this is an unexpected event, and suddenly, out of the blue, something happens that you're not shocked, or a hijacking attempt, or anything of that standard. And you feel so traumatized, but counselling is available for trauma as well. Because when you talk to someone about your trauma, they ask you to tell us the facts, what happened in your trauma. So in your trauma, you'll tell me, this happened. It will take a long time to tell me fact by fact by fact that you had to lie on the ground or whatever happened, you got tied up, you didn't get tied up. And the person feels the trauma by talking about it actually. Because they've now blocked it, like in denial, they don't want to know about it. Now they've been asked to talk about it. So once they start talking about it, that's the first phase of the trauma, talking about the incident. It's an event. They need to talk about it a lot, so it's ongoing counselling for quite a long time to get that trauma out of the person. A week at least to say they can come every day and talk and talk and talk. There's no solution. It happened. There's no solution to any of these things I'm talking about. These are all emotional events and traumatic events that can happen that we are not expecting. A lot of it is unexpected. So when the person has spoken about the incident, then we have to start opening their feelings about the incident. You know, how did you feel about this? How did you feel about that? When they start recognizing their own emotions, the healing can begin. In the event talking, one isn't able to really get to the emotions. They're too shocked, hurt, and you know, what happened here. So with trauma counselling, it gives the person an emotional and psychological support. In debriefing, what happens is you do the event and then you do the counselling, and they start looking at themselves in an emotional and psychological way. Recognition of the event, the reaction phase to discuss around the event, and the signs or symptoms of distress, which could be, again, denial, anger, bargaining with God, depression, and eventually with the event, one can get to closure. I can end there. I hope that's given you enough information as to the kind of work that we're doing around all kinds of subjects, and particularly as in COVID-19, people are going through such difficult times. We are here online for you. Many different counsellors, a completely multi-approached team, multi-faceted approach team. Thanking you. Take care.